Welcome back to Hey Kentucky, and eventually the worst is going to happen. John Calipari will someday no longer be the head coach at Kentucky.
No, it can't happen.
I know, I don't want it to, but someday it will. So who in the world wants the job after him? Who would Kentucky want to hire after him? We're going to have some thoughts on that today.
But first, let's go back in time.
Okay.
And as much as this is, some say, the greatest program of all time, it's not an easy job to fill. Not everybody wants this job. So everybody knows when Rupp retired, it was set up that Joe B would get the job. Eddie Sutton is hired. Do you think he was the first choice or the second choice? They were scrambling to find our coach. It's the truth. You think Billy G was the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth choice? No. Okay, so here's the deal. This is important. It's not who wants the job, Travis Ford, John Pelfrey. It's who Kentucky wants. Plus, here's the second thing. Remember when the thing with Cleveland a couple of years ago is Cal going to Cleveland?
Yeah.
Well, my dear friend who you know, Dick Hoopsweiss, is in the Hall of Fame. He calls me up and says like this, "Big boy, is Cal going?" That's what he said, word for word. I said, no. And then we sat, you've been in my house, our
Yes.
old house, right? Well, I sat in the driveway. When I went inside a little over an hour later, Judy said, "What were you doing?" And Hoops and I, he's in the Hall of Fame. He's written books with Vitale and Patino, spent a year here. By the way, he loves Lexington, neither here nor there. We went through conferences. We couldn't come up with somebody who Kentucky would want who would take the job. That's how crazy it is.
Yeah, no, I know.
You want to follow Cal?
No.
What, are you crazy?
It's going to be different. There is no following Cal. So if we're to speculate who might be, I'm going to give you a couple names,
Go for
right?
it.
And they're a little bit eccentric or off the beaten
You
path a little
eccentric?
bit. Yes.
You've changed so much.
So how about we're talking, in a few years here. So how about Nazir Muhammad? Someday he's got to be done playing, right?
He is done playing. Nazir would be a wonderful big man's coach because he really knows his craft, and he would be really quiet, whispering in the ear, and I think he'd be wonderful as an assistant coach. I can never see Nazir at a head coach at a big school because it's not his personality.
And see, I don't know that he'd even want to do it, but I was just thinking, who is little different, okay?
Okay.
Also, I love Pat Kelsey at Winthrop. I think someday he's going to be a big-time guy. He's got a great personality. I love his social media presence. He's just still small-time right now, but in a few years, he may get up there.
I will agree. He will get a much better job. No disrespect to Winthrop. He will get a much better job than that. He will never be here. But that's a name, you're being really smart, who's going to become big time that most people don't know who he is.
Also, I'd be fine with Kenny Payne.
Okay, this is what they've done to Kenny Payne. They pay him so much money, which he deserves. He is more important to this program than I think people realize. They pay him so much money that if a job like Eastern came up, unless he wants to take a big salary cut, which he might want to do to coach, he can't go there. He's making more money right now than these mid-majors are going to pay him. I don't see Kenny being the coach of Kentucky because of all the surrounding things. Kenny's a really smart guy. He is great with kids. I'm surprised.
And they love him.
Yes,
yeah.
and he's tough on him too.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he's not a head coach in not a Kentucky, but like the next step up in coaching. I think he's really happy here.
All right, real quick, who are your picks?
Okay, now I'm not thinking of me. I'm thinking of what would the public maybe accept. Mark Few.
Sure.
Right? Just make the national championship game. Mark Few doesn't want this job. He makes like $2 million a year. You know what he does at night? Goes home for dinner. You know what else he does? Has the same fishing buddies.
Yeah.
Okay? He doesn't want this pressure. You're making $2 million a year. Why would you want to leave here?
Yeah.
Leave there, it goes up in the mountains. Okay, think of somebody else. Who else would you like? Sean Miller, great coach, right?
Great recruiter.
Great recruiter, too. Matter of fact, he and Cal are dear friends going back. I did a story with him when he was in high school. He hates the public. After the season's over, he hides. Could he coach here? Yes. Could he handle the aura? No. He makes $2 million. He doesn't want it. Tony Bennett. He could handle all this. Virginia's really good. Too
boring.
slow.
So boring.
Wouldn't work. Jay Wright, Villanova. He could have been the coach. I'm telling you the truth. Jay Wright could have been the coach. Why would he leave? He makes over $2 million a year. The people at his Catholic university, they love him. His wife is from there. He doesn't want to go. Think about it. Buzz Williams, maybe. Maybe if he turns Virginia Tech into what I think he's going to, maybe. Think about who is out there that Kentucky would want, who would want the job. People don't want this job. You say it's the greatest job. You want to be in this fishbowl?
Yeah, you pick two guys who sweat through their shirts.
Yeah.
At Kentucky, they would definitely.
Oh, my
they
gosh.
Would, they'd be dripping.
100 years from now, 100 years from now, they'll say, Why in the world did you hire Billy Gillespie? I mean, that was a desperation hire.
By the way, Billy Donovan is looking for homes in Lexington right now.
Oh, stop. Behave yourself. You know what? Somebody's going to run with that.
Let's just have Cal not leave here.
That would help. And you know what? I'm going to guess, and I don't know. Cal will coach longer at Kentucky than people think. It'll be past Brad. Let me ask you a question. Suppose Cal coaches here 20 years, okay, which would be great, and only wins one national championship. People going to be happy?
No, we'll win 3, and we'll be right back on Breaking Junkies.
You didn't answer the question.